learned from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it down, we gon' get it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your Watchlist coming in October 13th, 2020, and the stock market just had its best day in 6 months, at least for the tech stock. So we need to talk about what that means for the rest of this week and why. But today was a very, very wild day. It didn't seem like much throughout the day, but tech was leading, and the real big key was you didn't really hear anything. There was no news at all, but the market still was able to move a lot, and I think that's the reason why. The fact you didn't really hear any bad news, confusing news, anything contradicting, it helped pretty much just create this melt up that we have here today. So there's a lot that we have tomorrow. We have our first set of earnings. There was moves after hours with companies like Disney. This relates to earnings season kicking off. And then you also have stuff this week like Apple in their event, what this means for options. We have plays, so I have to go over that, the keys for tomorrow, all of that good stuff. And I have 3 distinct trades that we need to look at, 1 that I've already made and 2 that I really, really like. So even without the news, given its earnings, we have a lot to look forward to, so I hope you're ready. But let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's the first link in the description, and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free $99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/TheStockMarket. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watch list come to life, and yes, if you want to trade traumatic childhood stories growing up in Middle Eastern households and other foreign households, and then talking about stocks intermittently, then we are the place to be. And the most important thing you need to do, post your watches below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything. Post them below and source that info. Shout out to Chad, baby. So, right off the bat, first thing is, like I said, today you had a lack of news, and that is what created the melt-up. I do think there was some news beneath the surface, and I think that was the World Health Organization. They came out earlier today. Even Trump tweeted it after hours, but they reversed their stance on lockdowns, pretty much saying that the lockdowns were actually more hurtful and could even just be more of a problem than actually the disease itself. So they said a lot of different stuff. I would actually look into it. There's a bunch of different articles on it, and what they said, it was really along the line of saying that it was a measure to start, but it shouldn't really be relied upon. But I thought that was interesting, and that could change pricing in for a lot of stuff, again, because that means stuff for the global economy, not just the US and some of the main countries like China and all that. But nonetheless, the main thing with today and why we went up a lot. The NASDAQ was big. Again, the market is getting ready for earnings, but I think that's because we didn't hear anything. You had the hearing from SCOTUS today. You had the stimulus. We still have the elections. We're having these earnings and upgrades, a lot of upgrades today, which was positive on a lot of companies, even ones that have been beaten down. Even now coming into after hours, even into the rest of the week, you're going to see a lot of upgrades. But all of this stuff was happening, but you didn't get any negative news. So the stimulus stuff didn't go through, but you didn't see it really get talked about in a headline. Market didn't react to it. The SCOTUS, nobody said a word about it. The election, again, even though the polls have been changing, people are just indifferent now. Now they're saying a blue wave. Again, we talked about that, but at the end of the day, it's showing that Wall Street's saying, hey, we're going to make money no matter what. But the fact that you didn't get any negative news, it makes sense why we didn't have to have a crazy development, but today was still a big day, and this is what we've been talking about over the last watch list. If you guys see it, we said we're getting ready for this breakout in earnings, and I think we've actually hit it a lot faster than expected. So what happens in this next week is going to be important. You are going to get the banks and all of those companies tomorrow, so I'd watch out for that. And even any pre-earnings moves and reorganizations, like with what you saw with Disney, you might see that as something that could shape this earnings season and affect stocks, is that some companies might announce reorganizations to adjust to the pandemic, or kind of where there's been some winners and losers, and even though their earnings may not be the best, the market may like that. That's what Disney did after hours. We'll talk about it, but these pre-earnings moves and the types of reports that come out, we want this to tell us about what's going to happen the rest of the season so that we could prepare accordingly, balance the budgets, and know when to strike, check the premium, see if there's good deals and all of that. So watch all that. And then finally tomorrow, let me spell check tomorrow, but there's the Apple event. This could have a big effect on the stock in general. We already have those old leap plays, and those went up a lot more than I expected. And then that leads to my next theory with that, because I think that Apple is pulling on the implied volatility of the markets and pricing in general. Pretty much, I think when IV is getting pumped into Apple, I'm seeing it with those leap contracts. I think it's having a broader effect on the S&P. Again, we just can't forget the size of Apple, the weighting, and how everything is played out. Remember when they did this split and then all of those different additions and removals we saw a few months ago. So watch out for that, though. But I think that being said, tomorrow we might see that Apple effect. It could spread a lot into the market. It really depends what happens. Again, a lot of times on the Apple events, they usually don't have a green day. I'm playing the leaps on it. I will see what happens. And if this is, it could be very important. We talked about this today because this will be a change in Apple's upgrade cycle, meaning that this is the first time the phone might really change with 5G. It's not just like a camera, this and that. You know, when somebody asks you, oh, you don't have a new iPhone, you're like, why would I need another iPhone? And then your kid or something be like, well, this one's different. It has 5G. And, you know, it's a new phone. It gives a reason a lot of people to upgrade. So this could make them a lot of money. And this could be a really, really big addition. So we will see how this event is. But I'm not looking to play it on the day of. I think this is going to be like a 1 month out swing trade between now and the next few weeks. The market will react accordingly, and then you will really see the effect. So we'll watch from there. But that is pretty much going to be it. We still got earnings. We have tomorrow. There is still a lot, so I'm excited to go over these trades. But that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, like I said, 3 different types of plays. 2 of them I'm not in. 1 of them we made today, and I really like it, but I'll start with the ones that I'm not in. Target. I want to look at this. They did hit 52-week highs, so I'm a little bit hesitant towards that. A lot of the options are all over the place. That's what we've seen with a lot of different companies. And what I mean by that, you could see it with the options. They're just all over the place, especially the short-term ones, the closer ones near the money. They'll run up a lot, but they're very, very vulnerable. Pretty much you could see that's just trading one strike price to the next. One looks like it's a mountain. One looks like it's doing nothing. One looks like it's doing great. So it's just very vulnerable on the short term. The leaps, I haven't really looked at the leaps, you know, coming out to March even longer. And surprisingly, March isn't that much time. They're doing a little bit better. So that's telling you stuff. But on the short terms, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But the idea behind this play is Amazon's Prime Day, their sympathy, but they're going to be running deals at the same time. It's very, very smart. I think this might take away from Amazon's juice a little bit, but people are talking about how this could have an effect. And I think that'll be good. Maybe buy the rumor, sell the news type of event. But that is going to be one I want to look for tomorrow. Then the next one is Disney. This is either going to be a continuation or a fade. So the news came out. They're doing this reorganization. I think this is important. They're pretty much doing what we heard from Dan Loeb 3 weeks ago. They're saying it's not because of him, but they said they're going to keep their dividend, but now they want to focus their business on streaming and providing direct to the consumers. So now they're going to reorganize their business into 3 main segments and changing the focus of where their core businesses are. You know, again, theme parks, how they're even getting revenue from other avenues, licensing, all that. It seems like they see the money in streaming and they want to go into that. So even then, watch Netflix as a counter trade to that tomorrow or any of the streaming services. But I think this is going to be a move on the stock. So I think it's either going to continue and keep running. Investors will love this, or it's going to pop a little bit in the morning and then it could get sobering pretty fast. We usually see that with Disney. Disney is very, very hit or miss. So I like that trade. I'm going to be watching that tomorrow. And then finally, UNH. I really, really like this trade. I was excited today. It started moving and I was surprised. I said, wow, I can't believe UNH is actually moving. So I got these. They went up 100%. They're still holding. I haven't even made them free just because I really want to capture one of these UNHs. Again, we've played this a lot of times in the past. You guys have seen me hit some big ones on UNH, but it hasn't been moving lately. And this is where I'm like, it's pretty interesting because now it's finally doing that big breakout that a lot of companies we've seen do, but UNH hasn't done it. So I really like it at these levels. Just the breakout mode. The point is I got a little bit extra time. It's still a short term. You never know. Again, I would not be surprised for UNH to do this. It looks like it's done in the past, stopped, and then won't do anything, and then barely will break out. So we need a really big move, and sadly, we're catching it a little late. This was already a monster move for UNH. That's 10% from there. But I grabbed the next week 370 calls. I grabbed 5 of them at 31 cents, spent $150. They're up at like 50, 60. They went a little bit higher, but I'm still holding those. I like them. That was my first play today, and then that was pretty much it. But all 3 of those companies, UNH, Target, Disney, watch for those, even the sympathies related, Amazon and Netflix. But the second play I made besides that play right there, I made an Amazon credit spread on the calls. I shorted them. I talked about this. I kind of wish I waited towards middle of the week, but I was watching the premium fluctuate, and we got a pretty good sell. I made 11% on it. We were even up like 20 or 30% almost on it. It moves a lot. It's still risky. Again, even coming into this Prime Day, a lot of people are like, no, you be careful, and that's kind of even why I liked it, because I think it's easy to overestimate some of these expectations, but we'll see. But what I did with this credit spread cost $36,000 of collateral. Doesn't mean you lose $36,000, but that's the max risk if Amazon by the end of Friday shoots up to above $4,000. And why is that? Because I shorted 3 contracts on the 3880 call, and then I bought the $4,000 call. So collected a credit of $175 a contract, about like $550 or something like that, or $520. And I win on this trade if Amazon closes below 3,880 by the end of the week. Right now they're at what? 3,460. Their high is like 3,540. So pretty much they have to go $300 above their high, which again, anything could happen. We will see. But if they do not, we will be able to profit on that. So that was a 500 credit. That was the only other play. I like the UNH and everything else. I'm just going to be watching those. I will be watching stuff like the banks tomorrow. Watch JP Morgan. They're my favorite bank to watch just because they can move big, lower float, cheaper premium. So I like that. I'm going to be watching the Target. Watch the DraftKings. They got a bunch of upgrades on this. I was excited about it today, but it made our play a little bit more difficult, believe it or not. So remember the DraftKings one, I was down $5,000. It came up today. Now I'm down $2,400. At one point, we were only down like $1,000 on the trade. We made most of the loss back. But remember, it has not been a win or a loss. This is just a credit spread. I've made this agreement. I've collected the credit. You only lose if you get assigned or it expires in the money. So it's fluctuating in value. We're playing it to the end of this week. That's where the time is, or we're going to have to roll over if things go against us. But that's why I'm saying this is good and bad. One, DraftKings shot up. It's at $51 now. If it closes above $52 by the end of this week, or even here's our break-even price, because again, we've collected so much in credit, it could still go below your strike price, but since you've received money up front, you could break even, which means you don't make any money. So 50.76. So as long as DraftKings pretty much stays above $50 by the end of Friday, and we will walk away with this $2,000, assuming we don't average down. But like I said, this made it a little difficult today because they shot up. If I wanted to do kind of a smash and grab average down where I was hoping it was going to stay at a lower price, the contracts, remember our second average down, we got $308 a contract. So I was hoping I could get like $300 to $500 more a contract, get a lot average down heavy, and then being short term when it does bounce, be able to dip out of it. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. Otherwise, I'm waiting now. The real question is if it rips or not. If it really does shoot up and just take off tomorrow, we're in the clear. We don't have to worry about average down. But if it kind of stays at this level, it will get a little bit more precarious, and we're still not out of this. But I will be watching them. I think it's a solid play. We're going to keep our eyes on that tomorrow. Again, watch Amazon. Johnson & Johnson has earnings. We'll see. Continuations has always been a key with earnings, so don't forget about those. I will watch Apple and the Apple event. And again, I don't have any plays, but I have those March calls. You guys remember we did these months ago, now that I think about it. I don't know if any of you remember when we got it, but I grabbed them. I got 10 of these 160s, but it's a pretty big position. I'm up over $1,000 on it, but those went up. We even have those Microsofts and Spotify's. I bought those all on the same day, but I will be watching Apple. However, we do have a play, so I'll see short term, see what happens. CZR, I talked about it yesterday, did not make a play. Still watching. I have UAL. I forgot about that. Takes us back to the credit spread. Shout out to Zach too, baby. If you guys remember this, we had a few lessons on this. This one's up 68%. I pretty much should take it, but given the context, unless there's crazy stimulus stuff, I still don't think it'll hit. So the question is, do we get greedy for the extra $100 or we close it out and take it? So I'll see tomorrow. I may get tempted to take it just because I like just booking the profits and getting my collateral back, but we'll see what happens. But watch both of those stocks in the name of the stimulus and all that. I'll be watching those. Then Walgreens, remember, we have shares on this, but I like that they're moving today. But Dillard's went up. I think someone took a stake in them or something, but they're up like 40%. And really, I think this makes Walgreens that much more attractive because if someone's giving that much attention to Dillard's and willing to even pay a premium on that, I think it's great. So we're still holding those. I have like 400 shares. We're mainly just in the shares, not necessarily options. So watch them. Starbucks, I really like, but those short-term options, or even the Novembers, they're not moving at all, even though the stock has been going up 1% for the last like 3 or 4 days. So it's interesting. I think there's going to be deals on Starbucks till there's not, or the market is just really not willing to price anything because they think it's cashed out. So we'll see. And then Ulta, there was some like rumors today, but I think it had no legs on it. Shot up a little bit, but I'd watch out for that just in case, but it seems like it's going to be a dud. However, we're still holding some of those in the long term. So keep your eye on that. And then finally, watch GLD. Bond market was closed today because of this knockoff holiday that they've changed to the good holiday of what? Indigenous People Land or something like that. I'm not a big fan of Columbus Day, and because it's closed bond markets and a lot of banks and stuff. But watch GLD. I said about it with China. That's the main thing I'm going to be watching. I think TLT tomorrow could give us insight, and if it really does sell off tomorrow with the bond market open, that will really, really be key, and that could even point to even more bullishness and new highs, so I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to remember Amor Fati, baby. Love fate, love fate. If you don't love it, then you probably don't have faith or believe. Come on, baby, focus. But the cult loves you. I love you. I'm going to see you in the morning. Let's go.